Everybody, welcome back to E3. It's something you've all been waiting for, Elder Scrolls Online. With me is Paul. He was the creative director for Elder Scrolls Online. Paul, people have been waiting for this for so long. Ever since they saw the gorgeous, gorgeous world in Elder Scrolls, they've wanted this MMO. So how long have you guys been working on this?
So we started about 5 years ago on the project. So it's been in development the whole time, and really putting together something like this huge world, takes a while. But we're pretty happy to be here at E3 and show it on the floor.
So where does this take place in the Elder Scrolls timeline?
This takes place about 1,000 years before Skyrim. It's set in a period we call the Interregnum, which is there's history all throughout Elder Scrolls. And this actually was that one place in time where all of the history is kind of like gone, and people don't know what's going on. They call it the Interregnum, and that's where we set the game, so really the players kind of control how things unfold.
So this is the time, like, we have not, playing the Skyrim and these other games, been able to look back and kind of have an idea what's going on. This is when all history was lost.
Yes, exactly. So that's, players get to control. And kind of the main story is that when you start out, this Daedric prince named Molag, who's kind of one of these evil god beings, has stolen your soul. And so as a player, you would like to get your soul back,
Ideally.
right? And that's kind of how we thrust you into the world. So you're kind of lost without a soul in this world. And, here's, the Alakir Desert, one of the cities called Sentinel. So you'll be traveling all around Tamriel, which is where all the games have taken place.
So how many different factions? Obviously, as an MMO, you got to choose a side. You're all against each other. We have 3 different factions. Who are they? Yeah,
so we have the All-Merry Dominion faction, and they're kind of made up of the Elves and the Khajiit, except for the Ebonheart Pact has the Dark Elves, and the Argonians and the Nords. And then we have the Daggerfall Covenant, which the Daggerfall Covenant is Bretons, Orcs, and, the Redguard.
Right. So, I mean, one of the things that we can look forward to is that there are going to be some familiar characters. Obviously, this is kind of strange considering the game took place 1,000 years before we originally met them, so.
Right. So, with the rich lore history that we have Daedric princes in the game that, people are used to, both the, Molag and all of the others. And then we have, some callbacks to some of the older games, like Mannimarco is going to be in the game. We have this one character that kind of recurs throughout who couldn't possibly exist now, and his name's Mike the Liar, so he'll make an appearance.
That's great that you guys are able to do that. So you have an immensely complicated world here. I mean, what did you take from other MMOs, and what did you guys take from your own games that you thought would be expressed even better in an MMO?
Yeah, well, here you can see that people are lock-picking, and that's a pretty good intro to just kind of the world interactivity model was really important to us. So in Elder Scrolls, it's about how I interact with the world. I can just take objects, I can take bread, I can take things like that. But also the combat. You'll see here we have first-person combat, and you've got the hands, and the combat has to be really kind of visceral. So we want you looking in the world. We want you to avoid creatures. We don't want you to play the UI so much. We want you to see and react to the world itself. So that's what we took from Skyrim and all of the other previous Elder Scrolls games. Now, as far as MMOs goes, we have some of the great social features. You'll be able to get guilds. Of course, you'll be able to chat with your friends. There's something really kind of intrinsically special about just getting together with just somebody and maybe you're having a monster that's a little tough for you, and then all of a sudden your friend jumps in and saves you, and there's just something great about that experience.
Absolutely. You want to play these games with friends. What kind of group, social stuff do we have going on in here? There's an in-game chat, but I mean, Elder Scrolls fans were playing alone for so long.
Right. So one of the things that we've concentrated on is, kind of this informal grouping idea, which is that, if you fight a monster, you don't want to just have somebody come up to you and not be able to help you fight that monster, right? Because you're worried that, I won't get experience for that if I help them, and so why would I do that? So we've actually incentivized people to come by and just be able to kill a monster with them, and, it makes this informal group. And maybe nothing comes out of it, but maybe you're like, hey, you want to go do this other thing with me? I see we're in this area. So there'll be lots of systems that encourage that. So, for instance, public dungeons, some of the content's a little bit tougher there, and you'll want to have a friend with you or have somebody come by and help you out in a tough situation. We have these Daedric anchors, these points when, there's all sorts of chaos that comes out of them, monsters spill out that players are going to need to, kind of group up and take on.
So one of the things that was exciting about the other games is that your personality evolved. Your choices meant something. But here in a game, you kind of join into a faction. You kind of have to meld to, am I this guy, that guy, or the mean guys, the crazy guys? How do you personally develop as a character in this game?
Wow, that's a big question. There's so many ways that you actually do that. So quests, we have a lot of choices in the quest. So how you derive the outcome is really up to you in a lot of the quests. And one of the great things is we've seen people talk and say, well, did you use the poison on her? No, I didn't use the poison on her. So those are interesting things. And then there's character development. Character development's really important because when you start out with a class choice, there's 4 classes to choose from, but you have 3 skill lines to stay in a class. But the nice thing about our classes is they're just kind of a template for, what you like to do. And then from there, you can equip any weapon, you can equip any armor. It's not restricted based off your class. And you get, if you join the Mages Guild or the Fighters Guild, you get whole new skill lines. And, our Alliance War, there are whole new skill lines. So there's tons of skill lines that you acquire as you play the game. So really what you start out with and what you become is completely different, and it's all based off your choice.
So everyone's going to be kind of unique when you get to the end game area?
Our hope is that, people will find unique things. Even around the office and in our beta right now that's going on, we'll see arguments over, hey, I played it this way. Well, no, that's clearly not the best build, and here's why, and that's really nice.
So what kind of feedback are you getting in the beta? The beta is super, super limited right now. So, are people giving anything that didn't jump out at you immediately that you're like, holy, why didn't we think of that? Yeah,
betas are incredibly valuable for a number of reasons, right? They test, the platform you have the game running on. They test, a lot of the things like core features, like, how is the UI? How do I do the UI? But some of the most interesting things are like, how is the content developing for you? Is this content, something that's really compelling? And sometimes they'll say like, I kind of wish I could have done this. That's great. That helps us make the game better. So, again, if people haven't signed up for the beta, they should. I know that, those people who have are like, where's my beta? A lot of people signed up. It's been very popular. So, bear with this. We'll be ramping up throughout the year.
Well, one of the things that drew me to the game was dragons. I love dragons. So how am I going to be able to interact with dragons in the online world?
So in Elder Scrolls Online time period, there aren't dragons because
there's no dragons?
There are no dragons in this time period. Well, there are, but there's a long story behind that. I can rest assured there are huge creatures that are awesome.
There's
in
other
the
freaky
game.
monsters.
We have things like the Harvester. We have a Daedric Titan in the game. They're really big. They're really cool. Very iconic creatures. Great.
Well, thank you so much. This has been an excellent look at the game here. And is there anything you want to say to fans of Elder Scrolls that you think is going to light a fire under their butts and make sure they get this game?
If you are scared to try an online game for whatever reason, don't be. You come in, you can play the game, you can go through solo. It's going to be a great experience for you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been your look at Elder Scrolls Online. I hope you guys are excited for this as I am. Make sure you check it out, and we have more games coming to you. Don't go anywhere.